If you're a regular follower of the comic book industry, then you know that Diamond Distributors collapsed not that long ago, which left everything kind of a mess in terms of shipping, which means sometimes the books are at the store on time and sometimes the books are not at the store on time, which means sometimes I have to go for half the books on Wednesday and half the books on Thursday, which is why we're here on a Thursday. I'm Lunchbox. This is everything that was in my pool this week. Spirits of Violence #1. This is Severe Pirzada's new Ghost Rider series, which seems to spin pretty directly out of the stuff that Ben Percy's been doing with Ghost Rider recently, which I, as a long-term Ghost Rider appreciator, have been enjoying. It's a lot of callbacks to the late 90s Danny Ketch version of Ghost Rider, which I don't mind at all, because when I started reading Ghost Rider, when I started reading comics, it's the stuff that was occupying the dollar bins, which means it's the stuff that I could afford to take a look at. Every Ghost Rider is here, so even if Danny's not your favorite, even if Vengeance isn't your favorite, even if Johnny Blaze isn't your favorite, there's got to be someone in here that you like. Ultimate Wolverine #10. This is Chris Condon, who you may know from That Texas Blood, and if you don't know, you should check out. This is the only Ultimate comic that I've been collecting in single issue, mostly because I cosplayed this version of Wolverine and I needed as many reference images as possible up top, but now I just like it. I think it's a fun little romp whenever it comes out. The rest of the stuff I've been reading collected, and I'll get this collected too because I think it's easier to read this stuff that way, but this has been pretty cool. Absolute Green Lantern #7. The Absolute Universe has also been popping off pretty well. I've talked about some of these titles before, but this is the one that's probably the furthest removed from its main continuity counterpart. And they've chosen Sojourner Mullen as the main Green Lantern for this title, and she's already a bit weird, but it's nice to see her get even weirder. Absolute Superman #12. This title has been one of my top 3 for the Absolute Universe because it's a lot of fun. I really enjoy this version of Superman. He's young, he's angry, he's got a lot to say. This is a little bit New 52. It's a little bit what Future State should have been. It's a little bit reflective of contemporary issues, and you can thank Jason Aaron for all of that. Also, Ra's al Ghul as a Superman villain, really cool, and you know that's going to play out later when we start to get some of these Absolute crossovers. JSA #12. Last week I spoke a little bit about that Justice League title and how disappointing I've been finding it because it's mostly a vehicle for crossovers instead of a really solid story, whereas this is the opposite. It's self-contained. Each issue is better than the last. It's been building and building and building, and it's just so exciting, and you can thank Jeff Lemire for that. Really classic move on his part. He's written so many things I've enjoyed, I can't even name one of them right now, but everybody say thank you, Jeff Lemire. Batman #2. This is Matt Fraction and Jorge Jimenez. I made a whole video about the first issue of this just because it's kind of a big deal being the first Batman relaunch in almost 10 years. This is a more Robin-focused issue, but it also gives us some insight into how these new story and design elements are going to play out in the wider narrative. And there's still time for you to pick this up because, again, it's only issue 2, so if you're looking to get into Batman, now is the time for you to hop on. Absolute Evil #1. This is, among many things, a marker of progress for the Absolute Universe, which has up to this point been pretty self-contained and building pretty slowly, all things considered. But this introduces some major changes to the universe going forward, introduces some major characters, and gives us some insight into what the future for this universe will look like once we start to see these crossovers unfold towards the end of the year, and then eventually whatever event that ends up being with the Justice League crossover title. And I was also able to pick up a couple of trades. This is Volume 3 of Ultimate Spider-Man. That's Jonathan Hickman, who you know from Fantastic Four and Secret Wars, and Marco Checchetto, who you know from redesigning Daredevil and Elektra a couple of years ago, among other things. This has been great. Marvel editorial doesn't really know what to do with Spider-Man, but all the alternate versions of Spider-Man seem to be doing really well, and this is no exception to that. Whenever you give Jonathan Hickman an opportunity to just come in, do a thing, end it, and leave, he will do a great job, and that's what this is. I also have Volume 2 of The Ultimates. This is Dennis Camp, who I have talked about previously for writing lots of wonderful things, including 20th Century Men, which is a title I once again recommend that you check out. I, as I said, have not been reading a lot of the Ultimate stuff in single issue. I've been picking it up in trade because that's how I'm going to want to reread it in the future. And if you are interested in reading this version of the Ultimate Universe, you can start with Ultimate Invasion and then pick up the first 2 volumes of Ultimates, and the bulk of the action is in there. So if you're not really interested in Spider-Man, even though you should be, or interested in Black Panther, even though you should be, you can just go ahead and grab this, and that would be fine for you. I also got the collected version of Predator vs. Spider-Man written by Benjamin Percy, who I mentioned earlier for writing all that cool Ghost Rider stuff, but he is also responsible for the Wolverine and Predator crossover, as well as the Black Panther and Predator crossover. All 3 of these serve as sort of a precursor to the Predator Kills the Marvel Universe title that's coming out right now, which I am reading in single issue. It's not absolutely necessary that you read all 3 of these before you start digging into that, but if you would like some fun context, some Easter eggs, or just good stories, I would recommend picking up all 3, especially the Wolverine one.